So if you think about going to the US, what are the questions that you're asking yourself when it comes to going there?
I ask myself so many questions. I hope you have some answers for them. The first question is how to find the first customers and to find them quickly enough not to take a few years to go there and grow there. This second question is not a problem because I know we could do it. It's just discovering the specificities. So for example, I know US recruiters use a lot solutions like Ring Central to make calls. That's something we embed in Jarvi.
Welcome to a new episode of Indie Board Session. In this episode, I'm meeting Quentin from Jarvi. Welcome, Quentin.
Thank you.
Today is going to be a format like a debrief where we benefit from hindsight to go through a founder's journey, understand his main takeaway and lessons that we can have and we can keep as indie founders. So, Quentin, thank you very much for being here. Tell us very quickly, what is Jarvi and what's the team size, what's the company size today?
So, Jarvi is an ATS and CRM for recruiters. Say differently, it's the tool for every day for the recruiters, especially recruiters who recruit for other people, like recruiting firms and independent recruiters.
Yeah.
And today we are 5 people.
Okay.
We started the company 2.5 years ago.
Okay. You told me I think more than 120K of MRR, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
In euro, so like a 140K dollars, which is impressive. Tell me a little bit. So, if you look at this company, you were not in recruiting before. So, tell me a little bit about the genesis of the idea, and when did you launch your first product?
So I've been in the startup ecosystem for a while. I even joined a company as a late co-founder, and that's the moment I understood that I really like that. I wanted to create a business, and when comes the time to find something. When I was the co-founder, the technical co-founder and product co-founder, I had to hire for my team to create my team.
Yeah.
And I met recruiters. I feel that their job was quite difficult. And I tried to hire by myself because it's quite costly when you're a young startup. And it was really hard. So I asked them, why is it me? Am I missing something? And I understood, no, okay, it's really hard. And maybe there's something I could do to make their job a bit easier. Yeah.
Okay. And so you decided to start this company, Jarvi. And you were by yourself at the beginning.
Yeah.
When did you launch? When did you start, and what was the first product that you launched?
So I started for almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the product and the solution, but even more thinking about the pains in this field. So I think I've met about 100 recruiters to understand their days, their work, their pains. And then I came up with an idea.
Okay.
I did an MVP. So at that time, we are close to summer 2022.
Yeah.
And I launched this MVP. So that's the time I put something in the hands of recruiters for the first time.
And how much, did it have, you started with the ATS, with the CRM, the sourcing tool, like what part of a product did you have?
So in the first 2 months when I took time to understand their pains, I felt that the sourcing part, because 2022 it was even harder than today to find very, very good talents. So you have to source a lot.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you send messages. You have to check the answers. You use multiple channels to send those messages, and that's very hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
And that's the pain I felt. I understood, and maybe why not create an outreach solution for recruiters to send those messages across multiple channels, but also to gather all the data, all the messages sent, received from every channel into one place. So you have one place where you have all your messages, like a unified inbox.
Yeah. And so you build that after talking to these hundreds of customers, and you told me that overall your customers were excited about it, right? They were supposed to be queuing to buy your solution, and then what happened?
So so I was really thrilled because they were all, oh, it's great, it's amazing. I will save so much time. And I had an advice. So someone told me, be careful. That's not because someone tell you that he will buy your product that he will really do it. So I was asking quite precise questions. How much would you pay? If your company doesn't pay for the tool for you, would you pay it with your own money? And I wrote, yes, it's amazing. I want to try that. And then I gave them the tool after a few months for the MVP.
Yeah.
They were still saying, okay, it's great. I will use it and great and so on. And I was tracking the usage chart, and it was after one day, it goes to zero, almost zero. And after 1 week, nobody was using it. So I asked them, and many excuses. I did not have time. Sorry, your idea is great. I will check this week. It's really amazing, and so on and so on. But in the end, after 1 month, 1 month and a half, still nothing.
Okay.
So the hard truth.
And so. What? So you waited for a month and a half, which is a fair amount of time. And what did you do then to change course?
Yeah, I had to understand why, because they still tell me it's great, and yet they do not use it. So why? And I think one time I had a chat with a user, and he had these words in French. It's charge mentale. How do you translate
mental
that?
burden?
Yeah, mental
load.
And then I understood that I've created a tool to make them save time. But in fact, they did not want to save time. They want to lessen their mental load.
Yeah.
And then I understood that they already had tools, and I was adding another one. So it's good to improve the efficiency. It's not good to lessen the mental load. So I understood that either I do something else, or I provide the tool to somebody else, or I have to bring the features of their existing tools, which are called ATS, into my software. So, in fact, I came up to build an ATS with some unique features.
Okay, I see. And in this case, which ATS were they using? Was it kind of also a cloud solution, or was it more of a old school, or doing it in Excel and stuff like that?
No, most were using ATS already.
Okay.
So the goal was to replace what they had before.
Okay.
It's a very fragmented market, so there is a lot of actors in this field, and most are already web-based in the cloud.
Okay. Yeah. And so you pivoted, and how did that go?
So first, it was a lot of work to to take all the features of an ATS and implement those features.
Yeah.
So either I take 1 year to do all of that, but it's long and I did not have any income.
Yeah.
So I had to go fast.
Yeah.
So I decided to target only independent recruiters for this beginning, and take only the features they really need. So it took a few more months. Then I started to new trials with the other users, and then they were starting to use it, to make a lot of feedbacks, to be happy about it, and asking for more features, but already satisfied with it, and with a very steady usage.
Okay.
That was my key metrics. I told everybody it was not free, it was paid. I think at that time I already gave them the price, even if I had no billing solution whatsoever, and the company was not even created. So at that time.
Okay, and if you think about this, how did you think about the fact that they were going to use this solution but still have the subscription for the other ATS that they were using? So were they trying you for specific candidates that they were going after? Like, how did it work in that case? Because an ATS is a pretty day-to-day, an everyday product for a recruiter.
Yeah, the goal was to make them stop using their previous ATS and use only Jarvi.
Okay. And so the pivot worked. In the end, that was the combination of the ATS and the sourcing tool and the outreach tool was a good combination, and it allowed to grow. And then at what point did you start to think of adding a co-founder?
At the time, I pivot.
Yeah.
I understood that the market, I was competing for the ATS market.
Yeah.
So I did my homework, I did my research, and I understood that it's a very viable business, and also it's a sales-led business. So at that time, and since the beginning, I did not intended to do that all by myself. I wanted to have also the story and something to create with someone.
Yeah.
And so I understood it was sales-led. I needed to have someone on the sales part to go faster.
Yeah.
And that's the time I was going to search for a co-founder. So while I was having those users try the ATS, the full solution, I was searching also for a co-founder.
And so you knew you wanted somebody who was more commercial, but in a way, there are many people who are commercial, who have maybe some experience in tech, and they want to join a startup and get a lot of money and power. How did you find the special one that, like, how did you go about it? Because I know that you have been very deliberate about it.
Yeah, I did a really deep research, like I was recruiting, yeah, in a way.
I hope you used Jarvi.
yeah, I was, and so yeah, I sent message to all the people all salespeople I know, and I know are good, very good, and also I took some time to pitch my startup to events like Meet Your Co-Founder or things like that. So in the end, I think I had maybe 20 or 30 applicants, and only 2 went on to the end of the process. Yeah. And the last part of this process was okay, let's take a month or 2. If you can free 1 day or 2 each week to work on Jarvi with me. We made no promises whatsoever, and we see where it's going, how we work together. And I was transparent with the fact that there was somebody else doing the same thing at the same time.
So they were doing it at the same time?
Yeah, almost at the same time. Yeah.
And how did you make sure that they were not stepping on each other's toes? So they each had different accounts to go after, or did you work more? Did you select more on their ability to put together a sales pitch? Like, what did you test them on?
So it was quite easy for them not to be on each other's toes, because one of them was in the US.
Okay.
It was a French living in the US in San Francisco,
Yeah.
Or New York, I think. And so he was trying to understand the market, understand the pains, and pitch the solution in the US, where the other one, my current co-founder, was doing that in France.
Okay, yeah, that was easy.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the deciding factor between the two? Was it their ability to close deals? Was it the relationship with you, their ability to understand the market? Like, what were the things that made you say, this is the one?
I think that it was the fact that with one, I felt that I was often challenging him, and the other one, we had very deep discussions, and in the end, he was challenging me, making me think about things, and I felt that he was always pushing him. I was not the one pushing him. He was the one pushing himself.
Okay.
And it was very important for me. I think that's what I wanted as a co-founder.
Yeah. And together, you have... So you told us at the beginning that you have a team of 5, even though you're doing around 120K of MRR. I assume that what's the breakdown of a team? Is it between sales, engineering, product, other roles, marketing?
Yeah, we have 3 on the engineering part,
Okay.
and 2 on the sales part.
Okay, pretty clear. And so, it's a big product.
Yeah.
There's an applicant tracking system. There's a CRM. There's an outreach tool. So it's almost like three software companies in one.
And the AI.
And the AI. So you have 3 or 4 companies in one.
Yeah.
With 3 people. What's the culture that you have? And you're all remote in
Yes.
France,
Yeah.
right? All the employees are in France.
Yes.
What's the culture that you have set up that allows this efficiency? I mean, your MRR per employee is quite unique. So
Yeah, you see the regular thing where you have product manager, designer, the developers, testing team, and so on. I knew that, and I didn't wanted that, because I was always the weak point in that. It means everything was going through me,
Yeah.
and so I was slowing everything down.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that. I wanted someone who would be able to do the same as I was doing at the beginning, understanding the customer,
Yeah.
trying to develop a first version of the feature, make the customer try the feature, taking feedbacks, improvements, and even communication. So that means that today we have a developer developing a new features or an integrated website. So you can integrate Jarvi in your own website
Yeah.
to show job offers. He developed that on his own. I did not write what he will do. So he do everything, and at the end, after taking feedbacks, improving, and so on, he even asks the users who told him, "Oh, it's great, I like it, and thank you," and so on. Would you mind to share your experience on LinkedIn? And the users did. So that's the way also we get known. And having people in the team who are able to do that, even if they are developers, and maybe that's not the most communicant people in the world,
Yeah.
I think, at least we think, it's really, really great, and it's really key in our success.
And so in a way, you have these developers are almost like product engineers. Like they do a little bit of everything. It reminds me of the startup Notion. When it launched, most of the people that they had or they were hiring were kind of product engineers like that, where they were not necessarily having this silo of product people and engineering. They were all bundled into one. And And so how do you test? Where do you find these people? I mean, it's not easy. How do you test? How do you make sure that they actually are making the right hypothesis? I think it's interesting because as a lot of times when I talk to Bootstrap founders, I mean, hiring is difficult, and hiring people with a good mindset or a mindset that is close to you is even harder. Because otherwise you could say they would want to build their own boss. So how do you hire them, and how do you test them to see that they have a right mindset for you?
Good question. We have a very we have iterated a lot over our recruitment process for developers. So first, today our roles are open to everybody. You do not need qualifications or anything. So you will be tested right away.
Okay.
And so the first test is a very, very short technical test, 5 to 10 minutes maximum. And everything is automated with Jarvi. Okay. So we do not have to handle that. For the last hire we made, we had more than 1,000 applicants. So it needs to be a little automated at the beginning. And then the second step is we put them in a real situation. I play the role of a customer. I ask the developer there's very short feature request, which is not very clear, maybe not the reality I need, and so on. And we tell him, okay, you can chat with the customer, you can chat with the CTO, you can chat with anybody in the team, and do something with that. And we tell him that it's required to really understand and have chat with people, and then we see how he managed with that. So there is both the human part and the technical part, of course.
Okay. And so you test them on that, and then after that you hire them. What other your culture is very customer centric. You told me when we prepared this podcast that everyone does customer support. How do you manage that chaos, and how do you envision keeping that habit as you grow from 5 people to tomorrow of 8, 10, etc.?
So we do not feel that as chaos, but maybe it is, but maybe it's also in our culture to have this small kind of chaos.
Yeah.
We are all impatient, and it's in our values to be impatient.
Okay.
So it works. It really works well, and also it creates cooperations between sales and technical people, because we do pairs. We work together on the support, and each week there is a rotation. So there is this bond created between those two teams. So it works. The question is how we'll manage that when we'll be 10, 20. I don't know yet. I want to try and feel how far this way could work, because it's very efficient, and we have some strange things, like there is no bug tracking system for Jarvi, because we have this support solution, and we do not close the ticket until it's done, and we work in order that at the end of the day, everything is closed. Everything is done and closed and answered. So that's a bit...
And even because sometimes you can have bugs that take time to solve, sometimes more than one people, I don't know. How do you manage that when you have an email at 5 p.m. and there is this big bug that you have that is annoying a customer, and you need to solve it?
We do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can happen. These kind of bugs are not very common.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, but it happens that sometimes we do a late late night.
Okay. And so going through these critical moments, the pivot, the finding your co-founder, this very customer-centric and what you said, impatient culture, which is interesting. What would you say are the main lessons that you've learned and things that you would do differently if you were able to restart today?
So I think the first lesson I've taken is people is really matters. I think my most important job today is finding the best people for the team. So it's really critical, and I know that today, if you want me to give me the biggest service you can, it's make me meet someone really valuable and really someone we all want to work with.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Then it's for the really beginning of creating a startup. It's maybe it helped me a lot to do something I think I was really good at.
Yeah.
So SaaS, B2B, I could not created something else, I think, with that success. So
yeah. You almost did. You told me you almost did a B2C app, so it was a good call.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the second part of a debrief, and maybe, I mean, in your case, sales is important. Customers come mostly inbound, but they are closed with on the phone with a demo over time. How did it impact your growth, knowing that you're bootstrapped? And so how did you have enough money early on to be able to afford your co-founder, when the contracts were smaller and you had to wait for them to be able to close them?
So at the beginning, I was alone. Then we were two, and the deal with my co-founder is that we were not going to pay ourselves for almost 2 years.
Okay, wow.
So that
commitment.
was the deal. Yeah. So it helped a lot, and we grew really fast. So after 1 year of selling the product, we already made 20K of MRR. Yeah. So
then you
can live with that in France.
Yeah.
But we were not sure to do that the first year. So what we did is we asked our first user who are recruiters, if they want to invest in the company. And it was also a bit the spirit of that, maybe the spirit of Bootstrap to think that the company does not belong at least a bit to its users.
Yeah.
And we were really surprised because almost all of them were glad to do that. It was their first investment in startups. So there was something really, really fun about that and really cool. And also it created bonds with them, and it also helps to make the product to get known to other recruiters.
And so how much did they invest overall?
They have about 7% of the company.
No, but how much money did they invest overall? The sum of all of that?
It's 100, about 100.
Okay. So you have your shareholders are between the two of you, maybe the team, and these initial customers. How do you, for bootstrap founders? I mean, for startups they have stock options, etc., etc. How do you think about it for you as a bootstrap founders? Do you have an incentive plan in terms of dividends for them? Do you give your employees stock? Like, how do you think about it, which is going to be even more important as you scale?
Yeah, for the recruiters who invest in the company, no, we do not have this dividend policy.
Yeah,
and they knew that, and we were transparent about that. So the money invested in the company. So what they expect is to if one day we sold the company or it became really, really profitable, then they will get their money back multiple times.
Okay.
But also is to be part of this adventure. And we spend a lot of time with them. And for the team, they also have this possibility to become associates.
Yeah.
To have share of the companies.
Yeah.
But I do not like this idea to have either 3 shares or those kinds of systems. So they buy their shares. And that's a way that they are really invested in the company. They are really associates.
Okay, so they're really owners.
Yeah, they're really owners of the company and have a lot of freedom in their days to do things. And
interesting. In terms of advice, the advice world in tech is mostly geared towards VC-funded companies. There's also some advice for bootstrap founders, like in the board session, but that's newer. What good or bad advice have you received over time that you can share with us?
Okay, so one bad advice I got sometime, but if it was even before, it was when you have money, just burn it a lot. You have to spend very fast a lot of money, and I think the first time I got these tips, I did shit with that. So I think not a very, very good idea. You have to be very intentional about where you put money and why, and to be a very clear path on that.
Yeah.
So people mattered a lot. So it's very important to take those people. Maybe about tech, there is the fact that it's very hard to not build something which is very hard to maintain. So be careful to over-engineering. Take solutions you can assemble and sell very quickly. So the first design of Jarvi was we had no designers for the first 2 years.
Oh wow! Okay.
just to give you the idea.
So you were using kind of UI frameworks that were easy.
Material UI from Google.
Yeah.
And it works. It's not amazingly pretty, but it works. Yeah. And I think our customers wanted it to work and work better than any other tool, not to be just nicer than any other tool.
I see.
And I think that the best advice for Jarvi is the one I do not have yet. So I'm really interested about meeting people and having chats with people to have those new advice, because what works for us to go at the point we are will not necessarily work for the future. So, yeah.
And so today you're doing 120K of MRR with how many customers?
We have about 1,000. 1,000
customers. Okay.
Yeah.
So so it allows us to go to the next part of the last part of the podcast, talking about your challenges and your and so one of them is around international expansion. You mentioned to me. What out of 1,000 customers that you have, what's the share of French customers, other European customers, and people in North America or South America, or
So we have about 75% of French customers.
Okay.
We have about 15 to 20% of non-French customers, but French-speaking customers.
Okay.
And so between 5 and 10% of non-French-speaking customers.
And your product is in multiple language?
Yeah.
And how do these people find you? Is it through the LinkedIn post that you or your customers are putting together, or is it through Capterra? Is it through SEO? Like, what have been the marketing channels that have been efficient for you?
You mean globally, including France, or for international?
Especially for international.
Yeah, so it's different because yes, for French it's very word of mouth.
Okay.
Part of the international is also word of mouth. Sometimes it's cross borders.
Yeah.
And then we internationally, using outbound, ask for people in other country to give their feedback on our product.
Okay.
And as we have a very good win rate, they quickly became customers, and then the word of mouth can kick in.
Okay.
So that's how we did until now, and now we're starting to diversify our acquisition to go faster, because that's a very good way. It's very cheap. It's very efficient, but it's a bit slow. So.
And what part is slow here? When you say it's slow,
it's slow because there is a compound effect. First, you have 1 or 2 customers, then they make you have 2, 3 more customers, and so on. So at the end, it can grow very big, and it's great, but it can take maybe 1 or 2 years to really grow from 2, 3, 4 customers to a few hundred.
Yeah.
So that's slow. At where we are.
At your scale, it's slow.
Yeah, it's slow.
And so, when you think about an international expansion, is it like the traditional playbook of French companies to go to Spain, Portugal, Italy, maybe the UK or Germany? Is it to go to the US? Like, what? How do you view that?
No, we want to go to America globally, including Canada, US, even South America, because they are using sourcing a lot. So we can do everything. So even if you broadcast your job offers, but we have a bigger, very, very big differentiation on this sourcing part. So it's quicker for us to go to big countries like USA, rather than in Europe. You have a lot of job offer broadcasting, and each country has its own job boards. Yeah. So you need to develop specificities for each country. Each country unlock sometimes medium to small markets. So it's more interesting to go to bigger countries.
Okay. And so if you think about going to the US, what are the questions that you're asking yourself when it comes to going there?
So, I ask myself so many questions. And I hope you have some answers for them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see.
So the first question is how to find the first customers and to find them quickly enough not to take a few years to go there and grow there. Then the question is, but it's this second question is not a problem, because I know we could do it. It's just discovering the specificities. So, for example, I know US recruiters use a lot solutions like Ring Central to make calls. So we have to. That's something we embed in Jarvi. So that's not the hard part. So diffusion is really the most difficult part, because I feel like some standard channels are oversaturated, like SEO, for example. Yeah. And we have to think different to be efficient, because we are bootstrapped.
Yes, I mean, I think that there are a few ways that I've seen work, and I know the HR market in the US, not as much the recruiting for others, as you mentioned, than the recruiting direct. But when I was at Checker, we were tapping into the recruiting market, and so we've been to different conferences. I would say that the way I would do it today to find these first customers is recruiters tend to be more outgoing and outbound focused. This is their personality, and that's a good thing. So it means that the good ones will communicate about it, and you've benefited from it. So one thing I would try is to go after looking at the ones that are influential in the community in the US. So people that are posting a lot on LinkedIn or X, maybe talking to conferences, and trying to convince some of them to be early adopters and to be like the early people that seeded you in France. So they can give you feedback. And they can, if they're happy, they can broadcast that to the world. And so if you tell them, listen, you've been communicating about recruiting on different channels, like, let me show you what we've built and how it's different from existing solutions like Bullhorn or others. And then I think that you can benefit from the fact that they are in the market, they are seen as opinion makers, and you can have a ripple effect of them convincing others because they will communicate through LinkedIn and X about their success with you. So I think that's one example. Obviously, if you were going after big companies, you could have nice fancy logos. But in this case, I think in this day and age, having influential, trustworthy people that tell you, yes, I was using product XYZ on top of Salesforce or Bullhorn or some other ATS, and that's our sourcing tool, and I've merged everything together using Jarvi. That works. I mean, maybe the French are good at other than luxury goods. They can also make software, and that's an area you could look into. But the other thing about the US is a mistake often French founders or European founders make is that they want to win the US from Europe. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's important to go, spend time with people. There are conferences. You can go to the conferences, bring people, prepare yourself ahead of time, have people come, demo the product with them, spend time with them, get their feedback. You don't need to be on stage initially. And so it's very cheap. You prepare, talk to them, invite them, have a dinner. You do a dinner with them where you understand what are the lessons learned. Ideally, you do that and you had a few regular users that are using the product every day, that you gave a product away for free or you gave them a steep discount initially. And then so that it brings a product to the right level in terms of integrations, in terms of unique workflows for the US market, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you do that dinner with a few people that are insiders and these prospects, then it makes the convincing much easier. So I would say that spending time in person, building a relationship with key opinion leaders and also users to organize dinners in different geographies can help a lot. And especially if you go after the most competitive markets. So for example, in Silicon Valley, you have lots of recruiters. Silicon Valley recruiting is super competitive because everybody wants to hire the best. And so efficiency is a message that will be even more important because that's how you can win deals, that you can get paid faster, et cetera, et cetera. More broadly, I would say the US is very efficiency driven, much more so than Europe. So pushing the efficiency word is important, and having people in the US, like engineers, that can have a mindset that you have in Europe and can be product engineers, can push code to fix the bugs the day off is unheard of. So that would be my kind of first idea, which is go direct with some of these key opinion leaders. My second part would be your customers are recruiters. Recruiters spend their days on LinkedIn, many of them. And so for you having a voice on LinkedIn and communicating on LinkedIn about the problems of recruiters, you can become key opinion leaders. And it can help with recruiting. It can help with sales. And it can be you. It can be you and your co-founder. It can be you, your co-founder, and your head of marketing. I mean, if you look at Lemlist, they have every member of their team has to write on LinkedIn almost every day. And I mean, the same way that your engineers are both doing support and fixing the bugs and being PMs, you will have to have this kind of hybrid profile for what you do. And one company that I've seen doing that very well is a company called Pylon. It's a company that is basically a customer support software for B2B. So competitor of Zendesk. And they have been very specific about, I mean, it's a company that reminds me a little bit of the culture that you defined. They go very fast. They work hard. The engineers, they can have ideas for new features and launch them based on customer feedback. And the founder is really, really good at communicating about the company journey on LinkedIn, which has paid a significant dividend in terms of user acquisition in the US, because that's something that people read every day. And then at some point, you get excited about the person and the project, and you want to be part of it. And so I think that it's another lever that didn't exist 5 to 10 years ago, at least not to that degree, and that can pay a strong dividend in your category, especially since your customers are already there.
Yeah, okay. I like the idea you had of going to see the people. I think it's very important, and it's really in our core values. We do that in France. We went a few weeks ago in Belgium to start there. We had already maybe 10 customers, and we tripled that in the weeks after the event. So that's something really important. If you have very, very good products, I'm sure you're right. If you also meet people, it's a banger. Yeah. And you mentioned something. I'm very curious about it. You mentioned developers in the US. So how we are also growing the team.
Yeah.
And that's a real question I ask myself. How to we are international, and we will be more and more international as the time passes. How could I structure the team? Where do I hire people? Should we stay on like 2 teams, sales, tech, and everybody does some support, some PM, and so on? Or do we have to specialize a little bit? So that's a lot of questions I ask myself.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I've seen different ways. For example, there is a vertical software company in the US called Planning Center. It's a bootstrapped vertical SaaS in the church management software category. Church management software is a huge category in the US. Planning Center is probably doing, I don't know, I don't have their numbers, but 20, 30 million in ARR, like very significant. 50 people in a nice office in Carlsbad, California. And they prize themselves of having no salespeople. So they do customer support. They have customer support people. They have some sales and they have some marketing people, but mostly engineers and customer support. And that's how they sell. The customer support are basically salespeople. And their average entry price is a bit cheaper than yours, because you can start at $20 a month, which is probably not something that you do. But so I don't think that the structure matters as much, especially until you're around 20 people. After 20 people, you need way more structure. It's just that if your culture is about having jack of all trades that are strong engineers, that like the autonomy, that like talking to customers or being kind of that have this product mindset, then it makes sense to have them closer to the customers. And so if you have customers in the US, then it makes sense to have them in the US or at least in Latin America, but because they can answer in the same time zones, they can be on the phone with them if need be, they understand the culture, the tools, everything. So I think that for the time being, I would replicate your method and your culture, because then it keeps the people in France happy that it hasn't changed because of this new expansion, and it has been successful for you. And then there was when I was at Checker, the CEO Daniel, he had this idea that was, I was very prudent. Like I was always asking myself, should we change now? Should we fire somebody now? Blah blah blah. And he sometimes had the mindset of let it burn, which is accepting that something will fail, let it go to the ground by itself, and then rebuild. And so, I mean, you can be very deliberate if you have an idea of what you want it to be next. But if you're not sure, go as fast as you can, as far as you can with the model that you have, and then you can decide what to change. But it's hard for me, or for you even, to know what's next if you haven't seen the limit of a current system. And current system works really well, so keep it.
Good advice, and so maybe good advice, I think, to like distribute the team also to other countries to have the same culture, and also the same schedule.
Yeah,
it helps because now we are working now we are answering the support until late at night to answer all Americans and Canadians on their times, but. On the long time, it will be needed to have someone.
Yeah, because at some point you need people. Yeah. Sometimes people have families and stuff like that, and you don't want, like the engineers, they don't want to be on call at 3 a.m. because there is a problem in California that day. So I think that you don't need somebody per country necessarily, especially in Europe, but the US, yes, you need people in the market that understand the market. You will probably, one of you, between you or your co-founders, will need to go there often, maybe to move there. But at least spend a week a month, 2 weeks a month there to really understand the culture, be close to the customers, and have one of these product engineer over there that can have a behavior that can mimic what you're doing in Europe.
I think that's something we'll try, and and maybe someone is listening to us, and
yes, absolutely,
and we'll think that that's something for him.
You can leave a comment on the YouTube video, or you can send me an email, and I'll forward it to Quentin. My second question, if you don't mind, before we wrap up, is about AI. What's on the AI side? I mean, many people are talking about having kind of an automated recruiter that is kind of an AI agent that does everything. What's your view of that? What's the view of your customer on that? Because that will be a challenge to their business model. How do you approach that?
So many questions. So first, I don't think that recruiters will be replaced by AI. I really think, though, that recruiters will be replaced by recruiters using AI, in Jarvi especially.
Yeah.
But today, really, I'm not. We waited maybe 1 or 2 years to really embed AI a lot in Jarvi, which is the case now, because at the beginning AI was a lot of gadgets in software, and I do not wanted to have a button generate a message, and the message is garbage. So in Jarvi, you do not have those kind of everywhere AI buttons and complex thing to set up and things like that. We really made the choice to have a real AI agent, and maybe so. I'm a tech guy, and we are really tech-driven team. We want to bring really simplicity and smoothness in the life of our users. And in techs, use a tool called Cursor.
Yeah.
And it's really a big descriptions. We can write maybe 80% of the code using AI, but it's not doing things for us, deciding for us. We just give the idea, the task to do, and it does it. And so, in fact, AI in Jarvi is like the AI in Cursor. So it can do everything. You just ask what you want, and it can have access to all your profiles, all your data, all your clients, all your notes, all your files. And it can do everything you can do in Jarvi: send message, update statuses, make reports, create files, and so on. And you can really specify how you want it to be done, and have the AI do it for you. So it's more like an incredible assistant rather than some gadgets hard to set up and to use.
And you mentioned earlier that you don't see recruiters being replaced by AI. Why do you think that? I mean, I'm not saying that I disagree. I'm just curious, what makes you think that recruiters will be important piece of the equation in the future?
I mean, maybe it depends on what you're recruiting. Maybe it's if it's for really a short time job. Maybe an AI can ask the few questions and have the people, but it's not the core of the recruiters. And I can say that because we hire too, we recruit too, and there is a lot of things that are not hard skills. AI will be very good to ask for the location, to ask for the previous experiences, to ask for those two things. But to be sure that the people match the culture of the company, also to understand the needs of the company, because your client will tell you he needs A and B, and in fact, it's not really that. So because you have first to understand humans, the AI cannot fully replace the recruiters.
Okay. Before we wrap up, I would have two. I mean, I'm going to ask you one question, which is one of my favorite closing question. It's a question that I used to ask when I was hiring people at Checker, and before I often ask this question to interviews. What is the most important thing you've learned from your mother?
Wow, that's a really, really good question. I think it will be like people matters. You have to really love people, to bring them something. To be really open with them, to bond with them, and it's really the core values of Jarvi. It's true for Jarvi and our customers. It's also true inside of the team, and this idea that and for the team, this idea that I do not have employees, but I have like multiple late co-founders.
Yeah.
You see, it's really amazing. I think it is for me, because each morning I wake up and I feel that I work with people I really like and I can also learn from, instead of telling them what to do. And they tell me it's also great for them, because they feel great. They they can try, they can fail and learn, and we can share everything together without judgment. So yeah, I think it's that.
One question, I mean, I had two additional questions that I didn't plan, but I think it will be useful. One is, what is in your dashboard for your business? What do you have on your dashboard to monitor the health of your business? And yeah, let's answer that question first before I ask you my second question.
Yeah. So for my company business.
Yeah.
So we have the MRR acquisition and so on, but the main health metric for me is win rate.
Okay.
It's very, very important because everything we do currently is based on satisfaction.
Yeah.
If we do 70% win rate, and in the 30%, most of the time they come back 1 year or two. It was just they do not take something else. It means just they do not take anything for now. They keep their current solution because it's very hard to switch. But so win rate is key because it means satisfaction, and we grow fast because we have a really, really, really high satisfaction. Someone told me you asked for advice. So you have this this scale of satisfaction.
NPS.
NPS. Thank you. The Net Promoter Score. And someone told me they did a study. If between someone who rates you 8 and someone who rates you 9, the one rating you 9 makes two times more recommendation, and between the one rating you 9 and the one rating you 10, it's also 2 times more. So it's a really huge difference between being rated 8 and being rated 10. So that's really matter for us.
And do you measure NPS?
Not with the NPS because it's a bit at the scale we are now. It's a bit impersonal.
Yeah.
But we take time with users, also on support. We ask every time on support. We ask how it's going for you. What do you think of Jarvi? And most of the time they say, okay, it's great. and that's also the good moment to ask them if they want to share that. To share the love, we like them and they give us that back.
Great, and we'll finish with that. Thank you for this advice, and thank you for listening to this episode of the debrief from Indie Board Session.
Thank you very much for your advice. Too, learning a lot every day.